get the show on the road!
Hello everybody, I am the Kumu Courtwade and welcome back. It has been quite a while since, I don't know, I posted anything really of any length. My channel has been in a good bit of flux. I am probably most well known for Octon. If you are here, you probably saw me during the Octon era. Unfortunately, Octon is a previous series of mine where I explored a city through time that died due to a save corruption. But welcome to City Skylines Hoenn. This is actually something I've been thinking about doing for quite a while, inspired by the likes of Unreal Crow and Jeremy Thunder, who are making or have made City Skylines Sinnoh and Kanto, respectively. Both of them are extremely talented creators, who I've spoken on before on this channel. Jeremy Thunder in specific was an inspiration, and I learned quite a few techniques from him that I employed in Octon. So, what are we doing now? City Skylines Hoenn is going to be a realistic recreation of the Hoenn region from Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. Mostly their depictions in the remake, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, along with taking heavy inspiration from locations depictions in the anime. I've actually found that apparently somebody has uploaded the entirety of the relative season of the Pokemon anime up to the Internet Archive, so I've been watching that in order to get more inspiration and reference for my builds. Interestingly, though, we run into a problem. Littleroot Town in the anime is depicted as a rather large port city, whereas Littleroot Town in the game is all of 3 buildings. So we are building today what I am calling Littleroot Port. I am using this kind of determination based off of a map that I've seen that we are going to be also referencing in order to help piece together road names and where things are. Now, what you just saw me doing was building the actual port. This is a hub from the Mass Transit DLC, and now we are moving on to the entrance to Littleroot Port, Route 105.
There it is, Littleroot Town up ahead.
But yeah, Route 105 is an extremely steep and short route, leading between where I will be building Littleroot Town in the next episode and Littleroot Port. The only reason why I made this different than Route 101 is because the map said so. Now, because this is so steep, I actually have to do a few switchbacks because I'm trying to keep most major roads below 10 degrees. Here, now, you can see me trying to pick out a few of the signature buildings, quote-unquote, for Littleroot Town. And you'll notice it's quite large. These are proper towers for something called a town. As a matter of fact, if this is the port of Littleroot Town, and Littleroot Town is a small little town, right, then in theory this should be even smaller than Littleroot Town. But, well, here we are. I'm trying to reconcile the depiction in the anime and the depiction in the game. So the thought process is, maybe Littleroot Town is in fact a teeny little town, right? But just like cities in Alaska or even tourist hubs here in southern America, maybe the population is very small for a skyline of its size. I took inspiration here from Hot Springs, Arkansas, as a matter of fact, which despite being in the southern US is a tourist town with an impressive skyline, constrained by its physical geography, with a population of only about 22,000. Those tall buildings you just saw in the photo are mostly hotels and historical sites, as funny as that sounds. And the thought process is the same here for the port of Littleroot, or Littleroot Port. I believe that these could very well be office buildings for cruise and ferry lines. I imagine that perhaps even that Littleroot Port is a port of call for cruise ships, along with obviously the ferry traffic coming in from other regions, as we saw in the anime. But yeah, what I'm doing right here, by the way, is I'm trying to actually recreate one of the scenes from the anime. We'll go into it a little more later, but these three towers on the mountainside are seen in the anime, and the lighthouse as well is an attempt to recreate what appears to be either an observation tower or just a weird lighthouse that we see in one of like the two scenes that we see Littleroot Port in the Pokemon anime. But yeah, so the actual port of Littleroot is very constrained by its physical geography. The surrounding settlement is hemmed in on both sides by mountain, and the buildable area is not exactly buildable in itself, with, as you saw there, a slope anywhere between roughly 30 and 10 degrees. So it was a challenge to build Littleroot Port, I'll tell you that. Here I am working on the lighthouse, trying to use Japanese buildings where I can, and also taking inspiration from the anime here with that red tinted roof. I thought that the lighthouse would be a bit of a tourist draw in and of itself, so I thought maybe one of the ground floor of this building that you see here is a cafe of some sort, and then I placed a couple of food trucks and food stalls just for kicks and giggles. And as we are taking inspiration from Japan, you can't forget a vending machine or two. But yeah, this is generally the sort of vibe we're going to try to go for in this series. We want to recreate what we see in the games and what we see in the anime as sort of realistically as we can within reason. But I'm not going to sacrifice aesthetics for the sake of realism. Like, for example, I don't believe really that the scale of this build is amazing. But yeah, as you can see there, we've created this scene, which is comparable to this scene from the anime, and I like to think I did a pretty damn good job. Moving on now, we are trying to create the rest of this little settlement, if you want to call it a settlement. I will say, even though it looks big, I did sort of accomplish my goal of it having just an outsized population, because the entire settlement here only has a population of 300 in Littleroot Port. As you can see here, I'm doing this little branch off of the main waterside road and creating a bus station. In the future, I'd like to have a shuttle going between Littleroot Port and a couple of the other neighboring settlements. I am wanting to kind of give this town the function that I believe it does in the anime as a port of entry into the Hoenn region. But you may also notice there on the corner a building that is not Japanese. Hoenn in the games and in lore, you can come to find out, is actually not the richest Pokemon region, and indeed very few of their routes are actually well paved. So I've kind of come to the conclusion that perhaps the Hoenn region is not the most well off economically or the most well developed Pokemon region. So I'm actually trying to do something interesting and do a hybrid Latin American Japanese sort of build. The language is going to be Japanese. I'm not going to shy away from using Japanese script or anything, and especially in the more economically important regions, we're going to see more Japanese than Latin American. But I find it to be an interesting hybrid style. And I believe it's a good way to give representation to a region that I don't believe has actually been represented in Pokemon before. Not to mention the fact that Hoenn and many Latin American countries share a similar climate. So this is my attempt at something neat and a cool little spin on, what I'm trying to do in this project. I'm not just going to do a cookie cutter Japanese recreation, but actually try to represent what I believe I see in the games as, I suppose, realistically as I can. And I don't know. I think this is cool. I'm rambling on for far too long about this, but yeah, hybrid architecture. It's neat. But yeah, as you can see, we're only a block from the actual waterfront, and we're already having to contend with some pretty challenging terrain here. That building you see right in front of the bus stops, I imagine, is a bus terminal where you can go in and get a snack. And then around it, we're trying to fill in the block with commercial buildings for tourists and for residents. And as you can see, we're already having to place down a retaining wall behind what I'm calling the bus terminal in order to sort of deal with the terrain. And that's going to be a common theme of where I'm going to place down a building, decide that I do like where it is, but have to contend with the terrain in some form or another. And here we go, yet another retaining wall out the back of this little store that I just placed. But yeah, generally, I'm trying to find a vibe between having Hoenn be a little run down, but I still want it to be a comfortable and cozy place that, hell, I would like to visit one day. But yeah, you can see here now we are going into quite a bit of detail on this little apartment building. Trying to build a back alley parking lot for residents to be able to park their vehicles, and trying to accommodate the terrain. As you can see off camera, I've placed a couple of buildings. That'll happen from time to time. I'm not going to show you every single time I plop down a building, but I do want to show you the ones that I think are interesting. That tall building you see just at the top left of the frame, now the top right, and it's gone. Yeah, I didn't do any detailing with that. I just placed it down, and that was that. Meanwhile, for this smaller apartment building, the one I built the parking lot for, I'm having to go into quite a bit of detail simply to make sure it is able to accommodate the terrain. I'm going to be repeating a lot of the techniques that you see today, so I'm going to allow you to sit back and enjoy the time lapse. As you can see here, I'm currently working on what I'm calling the suburbs. It's not really a suburb. Is there really a suburb if you were never herb? Anywho, as you can see, I'm having to work with, as always, very challenging terrain here. But there are a number of very good Japanese housing assets on the workshop, and I'm doing my best to work with the terrain here and make something I believe is aesthetically pleasing. As we go through the episode, I get way better at it, working with the terrain, that is. And this specific little block is not my best work, but it gets better, I do promise. At this point, most of the buildings of Littleroot Port are blocked out. I'll go back and place down a couple more things later, I believe, but we are beginning our detailing. Here we have this interesting corner building that I quite liked. I'm not sure if it's either a restaurant or a department store, but I really liked the vibe of it, especially with the parking lot right next by. So quickly building an alleyway and trying to put down a couple more retaining walls to conform it to the terrain. And by the time I finish the sentence, we are already way moved on. But yeah, this is the start of my detailing pass. You'll see me bounce around quite a lot from area to area, thinking about different things to add. Once again, we're working on a retaining wall now, but I'm also going to be bouncing around, putting down cracks in the roads, trees, everything needed to just give the town a little bit of realistic grit, and, you know, make sure it's not a picture perfect, you know, Barbie doll house of a town. I want this place to feel alive. And sometimes a little grunge is part of being alive. But yeah, here I'm trying really hard to incorporate greenery and nature into some of these blocks. And now I'm doing perhaps one of my favorite things actually, is the power lines. That is, of course, stereotypically Japanese. There's power lines everywhere, but just adding the power lines by themselves just made everything feel so much more complete. I can't describe it, but it's so nice sometimes when you're just trying to trust the process, and you're worried that things aren't coming together, and then you add just like that one detail that makes everything just feel kind of right. And that was the power lines for me. You can see I am just genuinely trying to run them everywhere, down the main street, down the streets of the suburbs, everywhere that I think needs one gets a power line. We're also adding in street lights because for the first time I'm doing a little bit of night detailing. I didn't go super in depth. Pretty much adding the street lights is the only thing I did in terms of night detailing. But later on in the city or in the series, as especially once we get into the larger cities like Slateport or Maubert, I want to go kind of crazy with the night detailing. But yeah, especially in Mauville, way later down the line, I want that place to look like it was straight out of Cyberpunk. But yeah, I actually did get rid of one of the corner buildings and replaced it with this historic building from South Africa, actually. Because, I don't know, I just felt it added a good bit of character. As people begin to move into our now functioning Littleroot Port, we have to add in some service buildings and also forbid parking because it turns out those small roads allow parking. Here, as we get into the final few minutes of the episode, I'm doing a last pass at detailing. You'll see me add a bunch more plants and cracks and all sorts of good stuff that really brings the build all together and makes it feel alive. Thank you all so much for watching this far into the episode. If you enjoyed the build and are looking forward to what comes next, please do give a like and a subscribe. Next episode, we will be moving into Littleroot Town itself, including building the Pokemon Lab and a couple of other little details that I'm very excited to share. But yeah, I believe I'll just let the video speak for itself until we get to the closing cinematics. I'm the Kumu Courtwade, and thank you for watching. See you next time.
Looks like